Great. Thank you, everybody, for showing up tonight. We've got a good attendance here in the room, and we've got several people that are out there on Zoom so thank you once again for everybody for joining us for tonight. We have our second exhibition night of the year. As I've mentioned before, in that I've always found these to be very helpful in having the opportunity, one, to show our images, also to describe them. The maker gets a chance to describe them, provide any reasons as to why you took that particular image, maybe a little bit of information on any kind of post-processing or anything that was special to it. And then also we open it up to, again, the audience to provide feedback. I've always learned quite a bit from these, so look forward to seeing what we have out there tonight. I think we have, is it 44 images? Is that right? And we're going to go through the process of, what'd you say, like it's a 2-minute period, 2 minutes, just to kind of keep things moving along in that. So try and keep some of the comments fairly concise, but again, at the same time, be sure and give feedback for what again, why you took the image and what you like about it. Do want to mention a couple of the other things that we have coming up here in the next few months anyways. First of all, I was going to bring up once again, there's the Birds in Flight event, Bruce, that's down in Florence. Yes. And sorry, I don't have the date on there. I know it's like the last April 26th. So Saturday, April 26th. And that's the full day event, right? That was the full day event. Okay.
Either early drive or spend the night.
Or early drive or spend the night. But in my case, a lot of times that's early drive. But and again, for those that weren't here the last couple of meetings that we mentioned this, good opportunity to photograph a big variety of birds. They're going to have some that are species that we don't typically get to photograph. Some of those that will be positioned, and then also many of them that you'll have an opportunity to photograph them in flight. And while it's not technically a workshop, there will be a few other photographers there with some experience that will be glad to help you out if you don't have experience in photographing that type of wildlife. So again, April 26th, that's down in Florence. There's information out there on our website, so take a look at that. March 19th, that is our next meeting, right? Yes. 2 weeks from tonight, Lightroom masking, and that is with Eric Hagerman. April 2nd is our next competition, and that one is on leading line. That one is a themed competition, and the theme on this one is leading lines. So we have a change from the original lineup on that one. So
my fault.
Okay, everything you wanted to know, Steve, and is that one going to be Zoom only, or is that going to be in person?
Yeah, he's in California.
Okay, so that one is a Zoom. When I say Zoom only, we will still be meeting here in person, or you can come in via Zoom, but the presenter will be coming in via Zoom. May 7th, we have the next exhibition night, similar to what we'll be doing tonight. May 21st is a presentation on Galapagos Island, Roger Frame.
No, Roger will be in person.
Right, so Galapagos Island, that's May 21st. June 4th is the following competition, and that one is open, so no themes. So anything goes, obviously, as long as it's appropriate. But June 4th, competition. And then June 18th, the presentation is on capturing time, daytime long exposure photography, and that is Jürgen Lober. And I believe that one is the Zoom presenter. There we go. Okay, like I say, this is a great opportunity. So it's great to see some of our newer members that are submitting images as well. So I think with 44 images, we'll go ahead and turn it over. Oh, go ahead.
We had to share the view. Anyway, while we were there, company that Flagstaff Publishing, and they publish all these magazines. Colorado, there's 2 Colorado ones. There's one for Utah, Nebraska, and Maui, especially for the Colorado. And then for those of us that might go into Nebraska or Utah, they're always looking for images, stories, different things like that. So I'll have these up here if you guys want to look at them. And if anybody wants to try and contribute images to them, let me know. And you can obviously reach out and contact them. I have the guy's contact information. So it's a way to get published.
Okay, and if no other announcements, we'll go ahead and get started.
Tonight, we're going to go through all of the photos as quickly as we can. Individuals that are not here or as a participant. We'll give a few comments, but we're trying to limit it to 2 minutes. So if you can be very brief and concise with it, that would be appreciated. And Bruce is going to set a timer. So we want to be able to give everybody equal time on it, so we'll start with them. Okay, the first picture, unfortunately, is mine. This was taken at Bandon Beach. I realized I hadn't processed a number of pictures, so I started going back to processing some pictures. And what I was pleased about this picture was all the detail I was able to get in some of the rocks there, et cetera. And it's a very moody picture, but anyway.
Very nice.
Yeah, I like the motion in the foreground. I mean, the all the way front to back is very nice. The composition and that. But just again, kind of that leading lines, it's just from the motion of the water, the currents and so forth in the front, it brings you right into the part of the scene that your eyes want to go.
So was it deliberate? I mean, what was your exposure and to make sure, I mean, is that the effect you were going for?
Yes, a long
That
exposure.
maybe swirly in the front and pretty focused in the back, or soft focus?
Well, there was, of course, the haze in the back, so, but it was a long exposure. It was intentionally a long exposure. And trying to capture the waves as they were, I did several of them coming in and going out and just trying to get the movement in there.
Nice, all the different shades of black and gray and white.
I like that you got crisp detail, so a lot of texture, and yet the blurred water, it's like a really cool contrast of
Yeah.
motion and the grittiness of the texture. It's really cool. It's fantastic.
And if you notice on the clouds, I intentionally left those soft because stormy clouds tend to be, they were soft, but I mean, tend to be soft and
The only thing I might do is in the very bottom right corner, maybe burn that down a little bit, just
That's our timer.
okay, thank you. And this one's Patrick's Ascending Grace.
What a great different perspective than you normally get. Love the wings.
Yeah, the wings really make that on this one right here. If those wings were sprayed out, it still would be beautiful. The colors in that are really nice. But really nice sharp focus on the eye of the bird. And with the wing, just pretty clean as far as the speed, but it with a little bit of that motion, it gives you that sense of motion that it actually is getting ready to take off. I sometimes like that, maybe more even than that, where you get the ones where everything is completely frozen.
Did you use multiple exposures on that?
I did not know.
Just one, there was just one click. Holy cow.
your eye is always drawn to the lightest thing in the image, and there is a lot of light spots. So, I mean, I just love the bokeh or bouquet, and but I might burn it down even just further, just a little bit. I understand it, that kind of takes a lot of the dramaticness. I like the bird against the white in like right where his beak is, but around the outside,
Yeah.
it might be more vignetted if you just took a highlight slider and tried to do it a little.
Okay, tone those white spots down. Sure.
And in the upper left-hand corner, because especially if you have the bright sections that are in a corner, it can kind of lead the eye that way. So maybe
Yeah.
darken.
Anything like that triangle, try not to have a triangle in a corner because your eye gets trapped there. So, but yeah, I mean, the bird is just spectacular. So I like that bird even more.
Yeah.
Maybe even crop in to that first triangle.
Yep, I was thinking that might be a way to get rid of some of that light and get rid of the triangle.
At the buffet, Bruce.
Oh, this is mine. When we went to Florida, we were trying to get pictures of skimmers. And I have the whole bird, but I cropped it down tight. So my question to the group is, you want to see the whole bird or Does this have appeal? I just don't know.
I guess my question to you is how abstract do you want it to be? I mean, I think. I mean, that's the big question, right? Because you could even eliminate the wings and
Right.
just have. You know, on the top. And because I was just looking and whenever I stay this long on an image, that's really good. Because I was trying to figure out what it was. And if you took the wings off even more, then it's strictly abstract and maybe that's where you want to go. If you don't, if you want it to be a bird, then include the bird. I would say, I don't know.
Off at the wings.
I mean, it's just your own personal preference, I would say, but.
On your full image, do you have all of the wings? They're not like chopped off anymore?
Yeah, I have the whole bird, but
Okay.
I just dropped it down to this because I thought it was maybe more interesting in just the face,
Right.
there's water and that there's speaking the water and stuff, but.
Yeah, I mean, the eyes are nice and sharp.
One of the things I would do is lighten the dark eye there on the side there. I would lighten that just a little bit. Because if you look down in the water, you can see the highlight in the eye there. And I would put a little more of a highlight in the eye,
Okay.
just a touch.
Okay.
And I'd like to see the whole bird, because I'm sure there's a nice V behind him. Where it's
Yeah.
pointing right to him.
I have a lot of whole birds too. Okay, thank you.
This is Bruce Norman's Bizarre Reflection.
Yeah, okay, well, this was downtown. And if there was some sort of alleyway with a bunch of little bizarre people selling different things and all that. And up above was some sort of a reflective canopy. And so I'm right in the middle there photographing straight up.
Oh, okay.
And I just thought it was interesting and wondered what people thought of it. It's kind of hard to tell. It's even harder to see on here than as to what it is, I guess, than I could tell on my computer.
I thought it was a drone shot. But. You know, because it's overhead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the word reflection was making me think otherwise and stuff, but when I first saw it, I was thinking it was like something overhead, but it makes sense that if you're photographing something reflective up top, gives that same perspective, right, or that same sense.
Let me ask people, I see why he crafted it like this, because the two booths on the top make it symmetrical on the top. But if you just look at the image and just, you know, the balance, the negative space on the left, does that balance the stuff on the right, or should it be cropped different, or, I mean, I'm just asking everybody, I don't know if I see why he did it exactly like this, but should it be a square and just the people more, or,
Hey, who's that guy in the middle taking pictures?
yeah.
Yeah,
Meaning keeping everything that's over there on the right, but then crop the left just into that,
right.
Top the left.
a little bit left of that.
Bottom of
Over
the,
the bottom booth or something.
yeah, I'm just, I
Yeah,
don't know.
that might be interesting.
I would even take you out of it because that kind of gives it away
Well,
versus
Yeah,
versus just having it very cubitous or you know, abstract or that sort of thing.
I don't mind space on the left, and since we're out of time, I could tell you why.
You can tell us why now.
To me, with all of the activity that's going on the right-hand side of the image, that little bit of like kind of negative space on the left gives your eye a little bit of a place to rest and then go back into the activity on the right-hand side. Just my thought.
And take that foot out that it is exiting on the right. The next picture is called Blue Shirt, White Sand. It's James Ritzema.
Yeah, hey, hello, everyone. Yeah, White Sands National Park, and kind of a windy day, and the clouds were doing some cool stuff. So it was, I think, 2 exposures. I did one to get that foreground a little crisper, and so that's what that is.
I like that, like the leading lines of the sand that then take you back to the white sand, and then of course the gentleman for perspective. And it's just you could spend a lot of time looking at this image, a lot of things to look at.
And the clouds are very nice clouds.
Yeah, the clouds are real good, and just that where he's positioned in there is kind of gives you that sense of some activity, like Bruce said, kind of having that human element gives you that sense of scale, and
The only thing I would do, like if you're gonna keep the person in the middle. Then you might wanna think of more of a square crop, maybe, I don't know, just to make it
Huh.
very, very symmetrical. Or just take the person and move them to the right or the left
Uh-huh.
out of the center, but I mean, I would either make it completely symmetrical, including the crop, or move the person one way or the other.
Yeah, how would you,
if you did move it, I would maybe move him over to the right, maybe
Yeah,
prop him a little bit off
yeah.
to the right, so that then you give that sense of he's moving into the frame as opposed to like putting him out on the outskirts.
all right, thank you.
And that's if you want tension in your image, if you want it to be tense. You have them walking out with a short distance, if you want it to be more relaxed, put them out to the right.
Right.
Awesome, thank you. That's very helpful. Appreciate that.
This is Bluebonnets. And James, that's yours
Yeah,
again.
that's me again. Yeah, we went down to the eclipse last April, so the flowers were spectacular. So that was just one of the shots along the way.
I don't think the fence does anything for you. I think I'd almost crop it down to where if it's flowers you were after, try to maybe just get more of the flowers.
Okay.
And maybe meaning kind of crop some of that right, meaning at least the right fence post, take that off it, because that eyes kind of die at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fencing leads you right out.
Right.
And maybe adjust the sky. I don't know if the sky had any more color in it. It's pretty flat.
Hopefully those clouds disappeared before the eclipse came out.
Disappear.
Went away.
All right, thank you.
Bruce Norman, this is yours.
Yeah, so this is, I took this in Ecuador in what they call the cloud forest. And just kind of liked it, but it was sharp.
How fast was that?
Beautiful.
That was at least a 2500th of a second,
Right.
maybe more.
I swear they vibrate. The bird, I swear they vibrate when you're trying to take a picture.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, really nice, the
Yeah.
background too, I mean, the way that the background immediately goes soft.
Yeah,
I
that's-
like that.
That's so sharp.
Yeah.
Amazing detail in the bird.
Yeah.
Did you use a flash or was it just natural light?
No flash.
Wow.
There's a light in his eye. It captures.
Yeah, it's really sharp, really. cool.
I did send it over to Topaz and sharpen it a little bit too, though. It would, not that it was dull, but that helped some.
The only thing I would do is maybe add a little vignette.
Yeah, good idea.
And some judges may say it's a little close on the left-hand side with the wing, you might add a little there. Just a touch, you know.
An awesome shot.
Yeah.
Very nice.
This is Phil's not here. Great comments.
Is that the Cadillac Ranch?
It is.
Where is that?
It's down in Amarillo.
Oh, yeah, Texas.
I was just down
Bunch of
there.
Cadillacs.
You were there this morning?
Yeah, I was there this morning.
There's another one in Nebraska or something.
Only thing I can say is
Like that.
there's a paint can on the ground and I guess it kind of adds to the whole graffiti theme, but I find it distracting. Maybe just, there's a couple of them, just take them out. Pick up the trash.
It's just so busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to,
It's hard to distinguish them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's different, that would be the only thing, there's different angles you can take of it, you know, if you move. As the photographer, a little bit over to the left, you could get a little bit of gaps in between or kind of differentiate car to car, but this is kind of an artistic, I've been there before and photographed it a couple times and, you know, you just get different angles and each of the images is gonna look completely different. And from day to day, it's gonna change just depending upon who was there painting, what colors the day before.
what the light is.
Yes.
Okay,
I
moving.
would say if you're gonna have it like this, you should almost darken every other car just to try to get some distinction.
Mhm.
Unless he's trying to go
Right,
that it's
right.
just one huge canvas and then maybe drop down and make it one canvas. I don't know.
This one's called Color Reflection, Shannon.
Shannon,
Meg.
Pretty though.
Yeah,
Beautiful
yeah.
picture.
Now,
it's interesting the way they have the streaks of light, because I've never seen it like that exactly.
Must have been during the eclipse last year. Or no.
Yeah, but I mean, what's
Northern
causing
Lights.
It was,
those
yeah.
Yeah.
The Northern Lights.
flares?
Okay.
It's really cool.
Interesting.
Michael Rhino, Cowgirl Silhouette.
Oh, we don't have time for this.
Don't have time. So I was photographing a person, so just, and this is another friend's has a house with a barn, and I had the barn. This is inside of the barn, so to get that silhouette, I put on a flash facing the other direction, and I put on a purple, like one of those gels, they call them, the flash gel over that light, just to illuminate that back behind there, and so I used the purple gel. And with that illuminating that, then you expose it down to where the person becomes a silhouette. She obviously had a cowboy hat on and that, so we just kind of did that little pose or whatever, and that as she was looking that direction. And so that's what that was.
That's really cool. I'd brighten the background though to make the silhouette stand out even more.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Except that that
Back.
top. Go ahead, I'm sorry, but. I was gonna say that top beam looks a little bright.
Yeah, I didn't brighten it. In fact, I did a little bit of, darkening of the outside of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And
The reason I was asking is I was just trying to see, like, if you even completely eliminated that, would it cause more of a natural vignette? Because the
Okay.
bottom is dark and.
Yep. Yeah, I've vignetted some of it. I don't know why, and more of the light was pointing down below, but I don't know why that, I didn't lighten it
And then
intentionally,
there's,
but kind of crop right down to cut it right at that edge.
there's like two pinpoints of white light, one under her armpit and one at her hand.
Yeah.
If those were purple instead of white.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, there were a couple spots of light that were sneaking in through that
Sneaking
barn.
through, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But this is really cool. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
that, you know,
Like the color, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you got the
Nice shot.
definition really well, just the extra little bit of detail that's coming through is really nice. It's really, it's a
Okay.
silhouette, yet it's got a little bit of
A
shadow.
little bit,
so
right, I didn't
really
completely
cool.
make it go all the way out, right?
This is called Einstein, I presume, Carolyn.
This is just one, spoonbill I took in Africa. And I don't know what to say about it. I just thought, I kind of liked it, but
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's
I like
great.
the-
It's great,
It's
great. film.
great.
The detail and all the feathers,
Mhm.
beautiful.
The color is all the same. It's it's really,
The background's really nice.
I like your title too.
Exactly.
that was my husband.
Your boyfriend?
No, I don't like it quite as much.
yeah,
Looks
that
like
title
Einstein.
Yeah,
sucks.
that title's not that good. You need to look at something else.
I'm just glad I didn't have to do much to this photo because I could have never done anything with it.
So the depth, you had a really nice depth of field, or you had a really deep background behind it or whatever, maybe a combination of both, but that really makes the bird pop out against that background. It's really nice.
It's amazing the detail in those fine feathers.
Oh, yeah,
Amazing.
it's gorgeous.
Did you vignette this at all?
I think I might have, but that could be questionable too.
Because the bottom looks vignetted, but the top might. I don't know. You might try an iteration. This is pretty spectacular. Just try a small iteration and then see if it's better or not. And to taste for this. I just love the complementary colors consistent colors. It's really,
Elegance in Motion. This is Carolyn's.
Yeah, this is when we were down in Florida and the day looked about like the background. So I just did what I thought I could do to it.
It's pretty cool. He looked like he's walking in liquid mercury
Mhm.
and that little drop coming off his beak. Cool.
Yeah, I like that.
So what does the background look like right behind him if you didn't go high key like you did? Is there any detail back there or is that?
Probably not, but gosh, I can't
It
remember.
was just probably water behind.
Yeah, probably just water.
But sometimes whenever the skies are not cooperating with you, meaning that there's like clouds and nothing spectacular going on. I tend to do kind of the same thing then my mind thinks high key, that especially when if there's animals, if there's subjects like that. And so I think, to me, I think they come out really nice whenever you do that. You're just working with the situation that you were given, but then push that exposure up and go for that high key look. And in this case, it works out well because you still have a little bit of that motion with those little waves in the water, so you still can see some texture in that part of it. So I like.
Is
what you
there
did
any
with that.
detail in the black feathers?
That I
It's just-
don't know. Jane might know.
I don't know if there is,
It was pretty great day.
you might be able to bring a little of it out. Yeah, and what I would do is do a little more contrast, especially on the head part of the bird. And in its eye, we got a nice little catch light, but make it a little bit brighter.
Okay.
Then it will just pop out, but you need, it's very gray. And if you put a little more contrast, it'll make it pop a little more. Michael Rhino, Ethereal Windmill Sunset.
Yeah, there's a little bit more color on this string than that one, but yeah, so this one, it was actually a family photo shoot over in Parker about a week ago, and so what I was trying to do, and this was at sunset, and so what I was trying to do was I kind of walked around and made sure that I had those trees that would frame the windmill. Obviously became the subject of it, but I left just enough of the farmhouse over there on the right side. It's Pikes Peak, actually, way back in there in the background. So, and then as far as processing, yeah, I did do some processing on this one. And actually, I used that technique that I learned through one of our meetings here, the guy from down in Florida. I used that technique, but I backed down on it. I didn't go
That's
super
you
extreme with
gotta
it.
be a little more specific.
What was his name? Ed.
2 years ago, we had a presentation on,
It was in COVID, heavy COVID years, so it was like all Zoom. Ed, I'll think of his name, but
so he takes a photo. He colorizes it and then adjusts the white balance so that it white balances everything so that it is a orangey blue kind of idea.
Okay.
So it's kind of a color balance trick.
Well, that's one of the things I really like about this is the sunset color and the color of the windmill. Just really pop together, and the detail on the windmill. It's really neat.
Michael, I don't know if it's the monitor up there or, but maybe take a look at your mountains in the background, make sure they're not halo
There's a halo.
Yeah.
after.
It's on the screen.
a little bit, yeah. Okay, good, thanks. But I'll if I can, I'll think of his last name and, but it was, yeah, there was it's the same technique.
His Instagram is exist to shoot with the number 2. And yeah, I can't remember.
But we have the recording on our
Yeah.
tree thing, but it was like in 2020, maybe 2021.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it's the same technique that I use for that, the
Union Station.
Union Station photo.
This is Carino's European Starling.
Yeah, this is the picture I took of these birds. When you see them out in the wild, they just look completely black. But when you get the right light on them, it's amazing the colors that come out of these birds.
Where did you take this?
I think this was at Cherry Creek State Park.
Wow,
Really?
it's great.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I haven't seen these birds there.
So like just the
It's nice.
bright spotlight touches of light on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all over the place. They're an invasive bird.
Yeah, those colors are fantastic.
Yeah,
And the detail, the sharpness is very good.
and his foot being up with some motion.
It's great.
Yeah. Very nice.
Loves a
Pretty
lady
bird.
Yeah, it's very colorful.
Okay, this one's called Floating Dreams, Janet.
So I took this up in Steamboat Springs, just the balloon festival up there. Just took a variety of shots at it, and as you can tell, it's sort of not exactly sunset or sunrise, but it's sort of when the balloons were there. But I think that I could benefit from learning more about sort of the post processing kind of thing to maybe help somewhat.
How much have you done on this at this point?
Not very much.
Pretty much on the.
Did you crop it?
I don't think I did crop this one,
Okay.
no.
Cause I was gonna say that one balloon reflection is cut off a little bit in the water, if you had room to add that back in. That's what generative AI is for, right?
You fix it.
A nice reflection, very nice.
Composition's really nice.
Yeah.
Your sky isn't helping you any, but I don't know why you're.
I
think
would
you
darken
could
the
just take
sky.
a saturated.
Well, I wouldn't saturate it, but I would take a luminance slider. There's a grid of, color and saturation and luminance. If you just take like an eyedropper thing and touch the sky and you pull down the luminance, the blue turns darker. So that would be,
Okay.
but I'm not sure you really need the people on the right as much, because I'm not sure how much they add to the story. And if you keep them, a person in the neon green, you
Yeah.
could just desaturate his outfit a little bit. Yeah, very nice.
But yeah,
I
it's
love
good, yeah.
reflection images.
Yeah, especially those balloons like that is real nice. And getting part of the crowd back in there that's reflecting back on the lake. I like that too.
Florida Sunrise, Bruce Ryman.
Yeah, same thing, we're in Florida, so just looking for some advice on cropping. Not sure if I want to accentuate more of the water, less of the sky, or vice versa.
Sky is really cool.
That's what would you take maybe down a little bit of, you don't want the horizon line to be in the middle of the scene, but taking maybe a little bit out of it where it kind of loses some of the color up at the top, but definitely keep everything that goes all the way right to there's a section of it that's still really pops out in the orange.
Okay.
And I don't know, I say that, I'm not sure that would improve it or not. It looks great as is,
I think the same thing, just bring some of the top down.
just a little bit.
Not
Maybe
much over.
I was thinking just the opposite. I would bring the bottom up,
I agree with Dave.
and because that sky is so dramatic, but I would lighten the sky just a
Okay.
tinge so that you got some of that bluish, whatever. I mean, I think the consensus is try both iterations.
Yeah.
More sky, less bottom, less sky, more bottom, and then see which one you like.
Okay.
But that sky is so cool.
And it does look
Pictures
even a
about the
little bit,
sky, isn't it?
it does look a little bit, the colors are a little bit more vibrant on my screen here than there.
Yeah.
So maybe we backed down the color a little bit too much when we made those adjustments or.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Fractured, Bruce Norman.
So I think I took this at Rambler Ranch. And it's just a windshield, a cracked windshield. But I just love the bubbly looking stuff in it, and I just wondered what people thought about
I think you should AI an alien in there.
it. There you go.
I was thinking that was ice. That's really cool.
You said it was a cracked window, but how did all the little bubbles get there?
That's the way the glass cracked for
Wow.
whatever reason.
Wow.
Yeah, was it a windshield or
Yeah, it's like a windshield.
because some of the windshields have plastic in sandwiched in between
Yeah,
the,
maybe that's
the
what it
glass,
is.
and so.
And I cropped it in because there were a lot of, and you can see at the top, I've got the big white bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want to crop the whole thing out. But a lot of the areas behind it were really light, so light I couldn't really darken them enough to make them not distracting.
I think the bar adds to it.
Yeah, maybe I should have vignetted it a little bit, though.
Maybe take the blacks, try to make the blacks a little darker, just to give you
Yeah,
a
so
little more
the-
contrast.
Like especially upper left one. I did mask that and it had a lot more sparkling dots in it and I darkened a lot of that down. But then I thought I kind of liked some of it in there. I didn't want it completely black, so I was confused.
You tried a black and white version of this?
No, I did not. I should have though. Geez.
I used to have a teacher that said if it's almost black and white, make it black and white. You know, for some of those no pictures and stuff like that, just try an iteration and see if you like it.
Okay.
One last item, that little bubble that's on the right, I would either have it all in or all out.
The bubble's half full.
My bubble's half full.
Yeah, no, it's like 3/4. If you actually had it on the half, it probably would be better, like if you did a landscape and you have a big rock, you know, they say just put it, bam, right down the middle, so you don't.
Okay, move on.
Okay, Golden Serenity, Patrick?
This is shut up here in the mountains and just kind of wanted some comments, early morning sunrise coming over a lake.
Like the starburst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
Whoa.
just love the way you position the star. Not,
Yeah,
not quite in a third, but it's still kind of.
panorama works really well, that's really nice.
Right.
And the colors do look a little bit warmer on my screen than, I mean, complimentary and
Yeah.
to the benefit on my screen here versus what's up there. I mean, it still looks beautiful up there, but it really looks,
It's warmer and on the
Yeah.
computer.
Very nice.
Mhm. Yeah, that's fantastic.
I wouldn't enter it into competition.
No,
All right, thank
yeah,
you.
because we've seen it before.
Yeah,
Would you crop it more on the right?
No.
No,
It looks pretty balanced.
Yeah, I don't think would need to do that.
You just feel like you're standing there leading right into it. Very nice.
I think I like it this way, because there's on the top of the peak, you have some light.
mhm,
Yeah.
But you might have one or two judge tell you, try a version where you just crop down and don't show the sky over the mountain. I'm not sure I agree with that, but there's a bunch of judges who don't like to have just that one tiny sliver of blue. They just, you're supposed to make your imagination think of the mountain, so. I personally kind of,
So the judge might say crop it down to where the mountain goes up even higher.
yeah, like don't have the blue sky over the top of the mountain on the right. Just bring it down to just right where the peak. For me, I like it because you see the light hitting the top of the
Yeah, I
mountain.
mean, the light was just.
But I've been
barely
in enough,
skimming that top.
I've been in enough judges competitions where a lot of specific judges don't like that just sliver of blue.
Why don't they?
Okay.
I don't
Just a
know.
personal
I personally like it.
Golden Sunset, this is mine. I was able to bring a lot of detail out in the rocks and the light hitting the face of the mountain on the side or the rock formation on the side. Was able to capture these birds in there. Have a question as to that bird at the top, whether I should delete it or what.
We take it out.
yeah, I get rid of it.
I think I take all of the three flying birds, I think I take the bird on the top of the rock. And the one on those three that are just, because they're kind of outliers. And then if you get the three in the group, it's, because that's what you like to see is a group of three.
You could also take those three birds that are the main focus and go with the rule of odds or whatever. And physically make those birds just a little bit bigger.
Bigger, yeah.
Just so that they're more of a focus in the image. Was the sky that colored or did you, I mean, if this were mine, I might have made it more orangey yellow, but.
It is on the
It's on the
screen.
screen.
It is on the screen.
Yeah, I don't know why also, tonight
This is a real cool one.
we've lost some of the color that saturation up there and that, but on my screen here, it does have that, exactly what Dave was describing a little bit more.
Okay, thank you.
Very nice.
How long until spring? Bruce Ryman?
This was up by one of the geysers in Yellowstone, and I just thought this was neat how the snow just stuck to the tree branches, but I'm not sure, as you get closer to it, there's more detail. So I'm not sure if in terms of looking for crop advice or start over or do something different with it, maybe it's black and white. Just looking for some next one.
Well, you got the tree behind it kind of crossing over,
Okay,
correcting a little bit.
okay. I didn't
Yeah,
see
if,
that.
if there would have been the ability, I don't know, sometimes you don't know position wise, but if you were like a step to the left and if it would have separated from that tree in the background.
Yeah, I kind
You
of.
can always go back. But you mentioned something about black and white, and I think with the clouds in there, with that snow, with the contrast against there, it might be a real good candidate for black and white on.
That played with the sky a little bit,
Look at the sky, okay.
maybe darken it up a little bit.
All right, thank you.
I need my coffee first.
I will.
Reno?
I took this one, I was at Cherry Creek State Park and I saw him sitting on a log fence. And he looked teed off at me because I interrupted his coffee. And I don't know what he has, a marshmallow or something, but to me it looked like a coffee cup.
Yeah, it looks like a little tiny.
So I thought he needs to be in a coffee shop, so
Oh,
I AI'd the background.
okay.
They all thought it was your pet
Yeah,
squirrel.
so he was a teed off squirrel because I interrupted his coffee.
You should have made the coffee cups darker or a different color or something, I think,
That he's holding,
because you're drawn to the brighter
yeah, the white cups in the bottom.
underneath them.
So are the cups in front and the sugar, is that AI too?
Yeah, everything around, just him is the picture,
Oh.
all around him is AI.
What did you use for the AI? What was the
I
program?
can't remember what I used, I think it was Photoshop.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
That's fantastic.
It was just a fun photo. He shouldn't be on a log fence, he should be in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Don't interrupt my coffee.
Just skimming along. Carolyn?
Okay, this was mine and I entered it into the Lone Tree Contest and it didn't make the cut. And, okay, I like the photo and yeah, maybe it's not a first place or a placer, but I thought it would go in the show.
Yeah.
So I just want to know your thoughts and I want to know how Jane can fix it.
Caroline.
Right in the
didn't make a
eye.
Mistake, you know, it should have been in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice,
It's
nice
really
reflection.
It's a great,
it's
it's a great
great.
photo.
Well, I think, something to keep in mind with that is there are times where it's not necessarily a problem with the image, but depending on what the competition is,
I know,
how it kind of, falls into that.
Yeah.
Especially when they have them in the room. So it's a great image.
yeah, well, and I told Jane that, I go, competition must be really tough in wildlife.
Before you said that, I was gonna say the exact same thing, because I had one in there, a wildlife one, actually two wildlife ones that didn't make the cut either. And they had done well elsewhere in other competitions and that, so I'm really curious to see what wildlife ones made the cut. Because to your point, I think that category must have been really tough, because this is beautiful, this is amazing.
Yeah. I really like the,
This is-
whatever's behind it,
Yeah,
like a way,
Yeah,
And it points to it.
yeah.
This is hard to take. They are moving so fast.
Yeah, these birds are
Oh.
about, I don't know, 8 inches long and their wingspan's like 40 to 60 inches. And they go about
Oh.
15 to 20 miles an hour.
20 plus miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
I
When
mean,
they're
they
swimming
are
that long.
fast.
So you must
Very
have a really
erratic
good
too.
camera.
Yeah, I had a really good camera.
And the symmetry on it is real, I mean,
The only thing I would add to it, the radial gradient, oblong, and then a little vignette around it, so the bird sticks out.
I think we added.
It looks like there's a little bit of a, there's a little bit,
But we can darken that more, yeah.
but you don't wanna
We didn't do the
overdo it.
gradient, so.
Yeah, you don't want it to be obvious.
Right, and I can see a sense of, there's a little bit in there that I.
I think we just did the top.
Okay.
We didn't do the sides or the bottom.
Okay,
And it may have been, right, yeah.
Yeah,
Because the bottom's already dark enough.
yeah, so I think we just did a little
Yeah.
bit darker on the top.
Very nice.
Okay,
And for those of you that got into the competition, I helped fund the winning the prize money. I didn't get in.
What would that look like in the high key, like we've seen before?
You know, we did one in high key.
we did it in black and white, yeah.
Yeah, and it turned out okay, except the wings on the right didn't, they kind of like just blended together. They just
Okay.
blurred. You couldn't see any definition. And I guess if I worked with it, I could make it kind of look like the left-hand side. But the left-hand side looked good.
See, we could almost copy the whole left-hand side and flip it, you know, and some, both sides.
Or you could just use AI and create a whole different logo.
Oh, what the heck?
Okay,
Yeah. that's
Like a squirrel in a
Yeah.
coffee shop.
yeah, like a squirrel in a coffee shop.
It's missing a
Beautiful.
coffee.
Squirrel on
cup
his back,
and-
you know?
Yeah.
This one is called Majestic Flight by Kathy Ellen Shin. Kathy couldn't join us tonight, but asked if we could make a few comments on it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, very nice.
Maybe some of there's a couple of spots in the upper left and then just behind the swing and over to the lower left. The darker grasses, either because of all the white snow, maybe darken them down a little bit or lighten them up so that they don't. They're not some contrast to the snow.
I know, I think this looks real good. I mean, the wing position is really good. The head is there real nice. Yeah, there's a few of the little twigs or scraps of stuff that are in the snow, and I know sometimes it's tough to remove things in snow, but with the tools that are out there today, maybe take those out if anybody thinks those are a little bit distracting, but.
I almost think there's a little bit too much room on the top left. I understand why she's cropping it there, because she likes those trees or whatever it is popping up through the fog on the top left. But you can just do a copy and then drop those trees down a little bit further, just, you know. So it's, I mean, there's so much white on the top left with no detail that it would be interesting if you took that darkens kind of trees or whatever and just, you know, put it lower in the image or something. I don't know. It's hard to get that kind of detail on the snow, so I kind of very much appreciate that. I mean, she's done a really nice job of balancing the image.
I would try whitening the eye a little bit, brightening, making it a little brighter. Because it blends so much into it that you really can't distinguish.
Nice image. It's hard to get a dark bird in a
Yeah.
white background.
This is called Malachite Kingfisher, Bruce Norman.
I just wanted, that's one of our pictures from our Africa trip last year that Bruce put what did you call it, the bad hair day or whatever it's called?
That hat,
Yeah.
I like
Funny,
that.
how do you
Love
like
my
my
feather hat, yeah.
That's the same bird on a different, in a different,
Combed his hair.
different
Oh,
little twig thing.
You know, if I were, I might take that twig, that pole out of his head, just to eliminate the
Yeah.
whole stalk.
And then
Otherwise, the light is amazing.
I thought I did that, but I don't know. you know.
And there's one that intersects his beak to
Yeah, I
take
agree.
those two out.
And that's one of those weird deals because bird photographers are so picky that if you edit a bird photo, they just lose their mind, right? So it depends on what competition you're entering into. For us, it's fine. And I would get rid of those distracting things, but if you actually entered it into any serious bird competition,
Oh,
they would hate you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, because some of those you can't change anything.
Yeah.
really?
Isn't that the case with PPA, this
No, you
category?
you know, they changed it a little bit as far
they?
as using, yeah, and you're right. I guess on, you know, some of the things that they do right now, you can't just Photoshop something out like that. You have these like clone stamp tool and some of that kind of stuff, which is kind of tough with something like this, but it's not for that purpose. That goes for landscapes and that goes for some of the other things too.
But the bird itself is amazing and I kind of like the African nature and the stock that he's on, it's telling a story, it's like really. You know, and then you got the angle that he's sitting at, so it's giving some indirect motion in there, and yeah, it's really.
Beautiful lighting, man.
And the bird is awesome.
The bird is much more colorful on the screen here, so.
It's a Malachite kingfisher.
Beautiful bird.
Okay, this is Jeff Woodards, and as I mentioned, he wants to submit this another time, so we'll go through past that. This is Patrick's from Mountain Haven.
This is a shot up in Uray. And I like the way it came out, but does it look natural because the sun's behind it, but yet you got the glow on the houses in front? Does that just throw the whole image off?
Looks natural. Good question. I mean, I like the way that the lighting comes right into that valley. As far as the natural, it's hard to tell whether naturally would that light be blocked out just by where that sun is positioned against that mountain right on that ridge.
Is that a real sun? That's my question.
Oh, yeah, it's real.
Is it? Yeah, because it's just, I can't figure out how those roofs in the house and so forth are so bright and it kind of feels like they should be in the shadow.
You know, if you look at the mountains that behind there, they're kind of dark off to the left. That's how the whole shot was. I just went in
Right.
and lightened up
Oh, you
those
did? Oh,
houses.
okay.
And it just brightened up and I kind of used the negative DAs, but.
I was gonna say,
clarity.
you know, you were gonna tell me there was a cliff on this side and it was reflecting back against the.
You know, but you see the light reflecting off the windows. But again, this isn't a valley. So, I mean, it could be in a mountain across the way, because the sun is still up pretty high.
That's okay. It just seemed, I don't know, I just, you know, just.
So anyway, I lightened that whole area up where the houses are a lot, and it just popped for me. It's like, I like this, but then does that really look like it should be?
If you have any conflict as to whether it matches. The only thing that's really throwing it off is actually the light that's coming straight on into the porches, right?
Mhm.
So if you darken the front of the houses just a little bit, maybe it wouldn't be as dramatic, or maybe even just make it a landscape and take the houses out, right? I don't know. But I like that the houses are there personally. The disconnect is probably the light on the front porch. If it's just on the gables and the roof, that's fine.
And I wouldn't lighten up the side of the cliff right there where the sun's coming over. Just keep it on the houses, but not that area right there.
Because it seems like that area would be darker. than
Yeah,
what it
that
is
area
there,
should be
right?
dark.
Okay.
I'd like some detail there, but not as much.
And you can play around too and put light rays coming down into the community there.
I think you need a squirrel on that.
What did that house off right there?
Filter or something to cause that kind of start first.
No, it's just with the lens that I use.
Oh, yeah.
This is called Move Along. It's by Shannon Ditzman.
I like the head tilt.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
that's good.
The colors are beautiful. The bird is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's
Even though the
really
children-
soft.
And yeah,
Yeah.
the focus on that is really good.
Yeah, those leaves make it for
Those
me.
leaves kind of
Yeah.
add to, and they're the same color as the body of the bird above the yellow. It's kind of neat.
Looks like there's a disconnect between.
There's a
couple of
disconnect in
twigs.
the, all the branches,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, did they
all the way through.
over?
Yeah, you've got a little a break in the action
Yeah,
here.
look at that.
What kind of twigs are there?
Yeah, something weird on it.
See,
This is
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
not.
right in here.
weird too.
Yeah, that's, yeah,
Yeah.
that you point that out, you're right. I don't know.
You don't see it right away.
You see the wax.
Yeah,
In the beginning, you know.
exactly.
No,
This is called North Arch Morning by Michael Rhino.
You took that this morning?
Not far off. So this was, you know, I did I was out in, obviously Utah last week, Arches National Park. So this is, that north window, and before I took this one, I actually went back behind, and I was, you know, where you go to the other arch back and you photograph turret arch through that north arch. And then when I came back over here, I looked back at this scene and. You know, there's those steps that are right there. I'm standing on steps as that thing turns around, looking there. So what I did was there's that one tree. And I just made sure that I had separation of its top branches, that it didn't intersect with. The rocks up above, and it was kind of that tree that I was really, that caught my attention and where it was positioned against that background.
I like the colors. The only thing I would look at is maybe go to the left a little bit, so the tree is more into the sky, where it's really pronounced.
Yeah, when I did that, and if I followed the rules of staying on the trail, then I was gonna have, then I was gonna have those branches intersect with the rock over there. I think was
It's a
what
lot
it
more
was.
colorful on the screen.
Yeah. I don't know, the sky above the rock, maybe cropped
Yeah.
out.
And there was a question, is do you leave some of that sky up there, or do I just crop it to where it's
Yeah,
rock?
try without, or maybe just a little, but it
Yeah.
really doesn't add anything. It kind of draws you away because it's brighter.
Okay,
You almost don't need as much HDR on the big arch.
yeah, I mean, I did some luminosity masking and I did some stuff, but I didn't push saturation or I didn't use that slider on it, but yeah.
I like that you have the two colors. It's all three layers of, you know,
Yeah.
very colorful through the middle, and then
Uh-huh.
it's well layered as far as color.
Great, thank you.
This is called Paint Mine Sunset. This is Michael's again.
Yeah, so this was just a couple days ago. I've been around. The sun was setting back behind me and I found this composition and it's kind of during like the blue hour area, but there was enough light and shadows that were hitting the rocks in the foreground. And as far as processing, yeah, I mean, I did kind of the normal stuff, but I also did do a little bit of, you know, luminosity masking to bring out a little bit more texture, contrast, and that within the rocks.
The rocks are more, the top of the rocks, the background is more orange on the screen.
On the screen, it has a little bit,
Then
it's a little bit warmer here than it is up there. The rocks up there are a little bit whiter than what they show you.
Love all those textures.
Yeah. Nice.
You just need a squirrel with a coffee cup.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell whether it's a sunset, okay, with the title. I see you have some pinks in the sky there. I said I would try to maybe bring out a little more of that
Okay,
to let it know that it is a sunset.
yeah, and again, the sun was setting back behind me, so this is
Right.
looking out to the east
Yeah.
of that sunset. So it had kind of that was more or less the colors that were back there, but it didn't have like big orange or anything like that over in that direction. It was kind of like that.
Kathy, relaxing Japanese style.
Right, and the images, the two of the images that I submitted tonight, I'm trying to clarify for myself about leading lines. So I don't know if this is a strong image. The point is, I would look at pictures and they might have a leading line, but it wouldn't suffice for the category in competition. So my question is, because you've got a figure at the end, you've got this group in the front, and they, you know, if you take the lines from either direction, so is this a leading line photo or just it's got a curve in it and call it good?
It clearly has leading lines,
Yeah.
but to me, it leads you to the first group of people and then it leads you away from them.
Uh-huh.
So, and this is just my opinion, but I think the leading lines need to lead you to your subject and then kind of keep you there.
So crop it in. Where to
Yeah,
that first
like if
group.
you cropped, so you didn't have those people at the back.
And-
Oh, okay, You see, that was just it. I mean, I had something at the other end.
If the reward was like a squirrel,
Yeah,
Yeah, I had a scroll at the other end.
With the parrot and chopsticks.
with a coffee cup.
It was gonna
Not a
be
happy
tea,
squirrel.
this is in
Yeah.
Japan, so I'd have to have tea,
Gee, chopsticks.
yeah. So it's
no,
not,
it's definitely leading line. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. I just would crop it at the first group of people so that you follow it to them and then that's where your leading line kind of.
so, but I would cut off the back part before you get to the other people?
Yeah, because you just, it's there, you have two centers of interest and they're
Yeah.
fighting each other.
Okay. And then I thought the umbrellas helped as far as,
Yes,
Yeah.
you know, the visual leading line, because I'm trying to figure out leading lines. I mean, I'd go through the pictures and it's like, oh, it's got a curve.
The
Well,
umbrellas frame it, but they aren't, I wouldn't call them leading lines. That
yeah.
would be my opinion.
Say that again, Bruce?
I would say the umbrellas help frame it,
Yeah.
but they're not leading lines leading you.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, it's just one after another.
Well, it's almost more of a fraction.
Well, they end up being kind of parallel
Yeah.
to the little river. Okay, that's enough. I didn't, and there's lots of things I could do editing, but I just wanted to get the concept down.
And if you kept it the way it is, you need just a little space right here.
Yeah, more green,
Yeah, it's
You
just
need to
too
have-
tight right there.
that wall
Okay.
completed, don't run the thing.
Well, I
into-
think you've all talked me into like cropping it back there then. Okay.
This mine is called Roll, Crash and Spill.
Pretty dramatic. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Where do you
That's
stand, Jane,
cool.
when you take these pictures? Are you out in the water or a kayak or
No, I was,
on a cliff or?
this was abandoned and it was, we were just on a cliff on the other side, you know, just capturing it that way with a long lens.
I like that, the action in the spray that's up, I mean, and this one you have. Unlike the other one where you intentionally went with a longer exposure, this one, everything is real. Sharp and, you know, that spray is real clean and the contrast. Against the, you know, the background, I mean, the water, the white of it stands out so much, I like that in black and white, this one is fantastic.
I wonder,
There's a lot of tension in it for me. I mean, it's just you wait for it to collapse. You know,
I thought this was interesting how this was churning right here.
Yeah, it's like a little cyclone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
did such a nice job of not blowing out the white at the same time of having pure whites. I mean, I love it because it's got a pure white, it's got a pure black, got a full range of color, plus the contrast, this is really great.
I find it interesting, the water on the left-hand side almost looks like a waterfall coming
Yeah.
down behind it. It's just,
You
usually
know,
you see this shot a lot of times with the water, you know, spraying up like it is with the churning, but that other water in the background is just, you just keep on staring at it. It's amazing.
Is that like breaking over some rocks on the?
Yeah, it was
backside?
great. It had already had a wave hit there and it was breaking down, but yet this wave was still coming in and hitting this part of the
This way, yeah, okay.
solar eclipse. Carino?
Yeah, this is last year at the solar eclipse. And they refer to this as the diamond ring, right when the sun is just coming up. And you see those little features coming off from the sun.
Yeah.
On the actual screen, they're really bright red, orange.
Yeah.
They look pretty blown out here. But those are solar prominences. And they're waves of plasma that shoot up. And you can probably put a half a dozen Earths in that opening of those prominences there.
What is it, 8 million miles, or no, how many millions of miles is the sun from us?
How much they shoot out?
93 million.
Yeah, they shoot, they're all different. You can see several of them coming off
But to see that from how far away we are.
from,
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
this
gotta
is
be
nice.
huge. They have to be gigantic.
and I was lucky because I was in Fort Worth and it was cloudy most of the day and then it just broke and was able to get this
That's great.
And that happened 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. We have an eclipse on the 14th of March. Lunar eclipse.
Yeah,
And I have other ones that don't have the diamond ring part that are just completely
right.
black and you really can see those prominences
Wow,
coming out.
amazing.
What I've seen people do, which I kind of like, is where they take the sequence of all the images where you've taken it at different phases and then do it on one image. You know, so it kind of leads up to this and leads away from, or however.
Did you have like a filter and so forth in that you had?
No,
Okay, yeah,
no.
because what Bruce is describing, you have to have that filter, otherwise you'll fry your sensor in that, to get that whole sequence, like when. 'Cause this right here, you just got them like right there when the eclipse was taking place, right? Whereas if you're taking the ones that are like just a little bit before we get the sliver of light,
Yeah, there's too much light.
yeah, you have to have a filter on there, a pretty strong filter.
I have to say, I actually kind of appreciate this a little bit more because I've seen that photo where it's just all the different phases. Just a million times it's been done, you know, there's no ground, there's no nothing to differentiate one from another, so I kind of appreciate a one-off kind of, you know, and then he's got the square crop with, I mean, it's just perfectly symmetrical, so it's something I haven't seen, I guess.
Mhm.
It was pretty amazing. All the street lights came on. It's got completely dark.
Wow.
Yeah, I was up in Wyoming for that one handful of years ago and that, and you're right, it was really interesting how all of a sudden it didn't feel like daytime for a little bit of time.
I was up in Wyoming too, and the strange thing was when it got completely dark, all the ants went back into their hole.
Wow.
All the ants that were crawling around disappeared because they thought it was nighttime.
This one's called Stormy Sunset. This is mine.
Back at
colors.
Bandon Beach.
The colors are, and the colors are more like, again, a little bit warmer here on the screen,
Yeah, beautiful.
really
colors.
nice. Really good.
I just wish there's a tinge more on the left and that wave was completed on the right.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, it's, yeah.
Like the sky.
Yeah, sky's
Yeah.
great.
And a squirrel.
Swimming with a coffee cup.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's very nice.
And you weren't too low or too high with your composition, you don't have any touching, no tangencies
Right.
between the rocks in the foreground and the background, it's, you know, and the clouds are dramatically placed in there, it's really, really well done.
See, I wasn't that excited about the picture. To me, it just doesn't have a wow factor, but
Looks nice.
It grows on you.
It's kind of
It's a nice calming shot. It's just, you can stare at it for a long time.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have in your living room.
Very nice.
okay. And you're right about this wave, and I don't, I'll have to check and see if I have anything left on that side.
There's this
but-
thing called AI
Yeah,
Yeah, there is.
for both sides.
And this is called Style by Shannon Ditzman.
I think it's a little tight on
Yeah,
both sides, but
The back tail
The
is a
actual-
little bit cut,
the colors are really cool.
the reflection is good.
really sharp.
The bright spots in the background, though,
That's reflective.
maybe his head. But it's white.
Another beautiful bird.
This one's called Tar Paper and Cardboard. Kathy.
This is mine, and I'm just fascinated with this building. They're tearing, this is over in Mineral, just west of Broadway. And it's the old public service CenturyLink. Art even said it was Gates Rubber a long time ago, and they're tearing it down to the new Costco.
You know,
And I am just fascinated by the whole thing because it just looks like cardboard.
no, it doesn't. It looks like somebody put a bunch of Post-it notes on that thing.
No,
Mineral and Broadway? Trying to think
it's
of-
west of Mineral,
Was that Michelin at one time or something?
pardon me?
Michelin tire or something one time?
Well, my husband said it was, Gates Rubber, so that's tires,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this tower, and I took scads of pictures from a lot of different angles, and it's kind of hard to make it, interesting, but other than it's interesting by itself. I mean, I've never seen a building get torn down and it looks like this.
No.
There's like scales on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, scales or
Scales.
post-it notes,
I like how straight you have it. That's really nice for the most part. But you need more space on either side to, and then
well, I
maybe
got plenty. I could choose
a
that.
little less on the top.
But I did carefully, on the right side, I lined up my little viewfinder and made sure it was straight. And then you have that, gap between the two buildings. And so some of my images are narrow and some are wider. I mean, it's just fun you can get pretty close. I thought it'd be all fenced off, but you can go right up to the construction.
Really?
I mean, I thought you'd have to end up staying in the middle or something, or it's South Park, one of the South Park
over in that
drives, lanes,
Just off of
yeah.
University,
I wonder what it would look
No,
like.
Broadway, yeah.
Broadway.
Plus Lockheed Martin.
The only point I was gonna bring up is I wonder what it would look like at a little bit different time of day, meaning like sunrise or sunset, if you get like that.
Yeah.
A little bit softer light in whether it be the sky, the
Oh, that's
shadows.
a good idea. This was before noon. It was late
Right.
morning.
That's what I was gonna say, is maybe in that.
Yeah, and then I drove over on Mineral, kind of looking back.
Uh-huh.
But the shots, you couldn't get a good enough shot, and it was the wrong sunlight, but I've got like, I don't know, 20 of them, so.
Okay, yeah.
I just think it's fascinating. And I don't know what it would look like in black and white. I thought.
I was gonna question that too.
Yeah, I haven't even tried it, cause I think it's the texture and trying to figure out what in the world it's made out of. So,
You could get that sky to go nice and dark in a black and white too. It would
yeah.
Give, I think the contrast would work in this one.
I like the color.
This one's called The Flag, and this is by Kathy.
Yeah,
as
and
well.
again, I'm back to leading lines,
Uh-huh.
and so I've got the leading line, I've got an object. And I didn't know if it was too busy, if the flag, is prominent enough to serve as the endpoint. I could probably get rid of the little tree in there, but for tonight, I wasn't gonna go to that much trouble. If it's not a strong enough image to bother with. So I just need feedback on leading line composition.
I think to make it really stand out is to make that flag in color.
I hate like
With the color and then with against the black and white.
Yeah, everything black and white except the flag.
Oh,
The flag is colored.
okay.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't see the flag
Yeah, yeah,
until I realized the title.
yeah.
You know, you get all those things, all the things, everything on the white, or the right side is all so much brighter.
Yeah,
And that's what draws your eye. That's what I was looking, that, I followed that up and then it kind of stops at the top of the frame. That's what leads me. And
so you never see the flag?
until you told me it was there, hadn't seen it.
Yeah, yeah,
I think you could crop the left side in tight.
huh?
I saw
So
that.
zero add.
So if you didn't have the flag there as a leading line picture,
The bases do lead you somewhere, you just have to, you just need a subject back up.
Stronger subject back then.
yeah, see, that's what I was thinking.
And this might be one where you go to the other end of where the pillars are and shoot the other direction and look for an interesting person that's lined up with these, big concrete.
Or perhaps a squirrel.
Or perhaps
Yeah.
drinking his coffee.
Well, I could have used Bruce, I could have sent you down there.
I'm not that interested.
I could have had you climb the flag.
Yeah, I could have done that.
Hang from the flag.
Isn't there a stairway right over to the right of? all this?
Correct, it's right on the right of
Well,
these.
so the stairway is a leading line. If you had the right. A giant dog or squirrel at the top of the stairway is a leading line. It leads
Yeah,
you
and
up
I
to
took
something.
a couple of pictures of, and I waited, this lady was going up the stairs. So I got her almost to the top and then I have, her at the top, so she's silhouetted. but I didn't think I had enough of the stairway to emphasize it's the leading line, but I do have one of those. So,
Okay, the lookout, Janet?
So, this was in Sequoia National Park. And just was really intrigued with that on inside the base of the tree, and there were other deer in the inside as well.
It's a neat capture,
Pardon?
neat capture. Maybe lighten the deer up a little bit, so he's a little more prominent, because that right side of the sequoia in the background and the tree.
Yeah, I know, they're kind of
pretty
blown out
bright.
on the right, yeah.
He kind of disappears, and then he's not as bright to fully right too.
So maybe darken some of that part, but like I said, right now, but I do like the contrast of the deer against that. The real dark back shadow that goes back behind the tree.
I would straighten out the trees a little bit, the two trees in the front, because they seem to be leaning to the left. And then I would make it more of a square and get rid of some of that top area where your focus is just right on the deer and the opening.
I like natural vignettes, but you may not need as much on the right and the left and towards what Karina was saying is if you just squared off the whole thing, you can just bring it in, you know,
And leave out the two trees.
or less of the two trees, and then your focus is more on the deer and the opening.
Yeah,
I had a shot like that, but I wasn't sure, you know, in terms of framing it in a way, the trees were there, you know, and I couldn't get any closer.
I like natural framing and, you know, even
But it looks
overhanging boughs and stuff, so, but I'm not sure it needs as much.
as much. Yeah,
That's what I was gonna say too. The framing, I like the framing of the trees, but maybe just crop in on both the left and right a little bit. And then as Karina said, maybe take a little bit off the top and it'll bring the more attention to the deer there.
or, I think it would really draw you into the deer.
Hey, Timeless Alley, Patrick?
This is a street in Florence. And I like night photography. And I like the street, I like the reflections, but I feel like it's lacking something, like a subject or I don't know.
You need the guy with the big onion cart coming down the street.
Yeah, if you
But
just
it-
had one person or a squirrel, right?
Or
in the middle.
squirrel.
Yeah,
But I mean, Kathy, you want leading lines that leads you right into the thing.
Yeah.
But then it kind of, it's beautiful, but it does kind of, you're right, it'd be stronger if it had some person coming.
there's
towards
like a little scooter off to the left. I was just wondering if I can, you know, I don't know if I can't go back, but make that a subject, but then it's off to the side so much, then I lose the whole street
Yeah,
thing.
no, everything you've got in there is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take anything out of it myself. It just is missing like.
It looks like you got some lens flare.
In the,
Bicycle in the middle, yeah.
I might darken down both sides just a little bit, because the close-upness and the brightness aren't pulling me down the alley as much. So if you vignetted, and I'm sure you probably lightened both sides. Just, you know, to put little beams of light here and there. But maybe just a little bit too bright, especially top left.
Looks like some lens flares here and here. I don't know, was there a bright light source up here or?
My lens is probably dirty.
Okay, yeah, just, you might want to clean those up.
You like F-22, don't you?
Yes, I do. I like that starburst on the
Yeah.
lights.
Very nice.
Nice.
And this is Waiting, Carino?
Yeah, this is up in Rocky Mountain National Arsenal. This is a northern harrier, just a beautiful bird.
Yeah, the eyes are gorgeous.
Yeah, the color's not the same on the screen.
That's.
Yeah, it's a little bit warmer on here, but once again, real nice. Especially where the main part of the bird is, that depth, shallow depth of field back in the background is really nice.
How far away were you?
How far away?
50 yards, maybe 40 yards.
You could try an iteration where it's more of a panel with less on the top.
Mhm.
I love the angle of the branch. It's really, like I said, puts some movement into it. The colors are very nice.
And the birds look in the right direction too, which is cool.
Yeah,
We have both eyes.
Right.
Very nice.
Nice pose.
Did you have a mouse in your pocket?
He was in the seat next to me, still up
one of
there.
the things you should try just for grins, and I'm not sure it would make this better or worse, but if you have angles that come from the top right down to the bottom left, your mind feels like it's going faster than if you flip the image and had the branch go from the bottom left to the top right, and with the bird waiting, it would really slow down the image. Whether that helps or not, you should probably
Just
just
try it, yeah.
on one of those deals where you flip it and then you see your apparent motion,
Mhm. I'll try that.
I've often heard some of the judges comment about how we read from left to right, that if you switch this, like you said, like Dave said, that this branch would lead up into it and it would be a stronger image flipped around. This is called Winter Stillness. This is Kathy Ellen Shin picture, which she wanted some comments on it.
Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She could probably crop some off the top, because that white above
Yeah,
the branches and the water don't really, it's bright and it pulls you away.
Feels like the image overall could be brighter.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's a little dark.
A little bit dark, or maybe
A little more.
a little bit more
contrast.
contrast or something like that, that would bring up some of the white, but
I'm
Kinda-
sure she wants it moody and dark, but maybe even just bringing the bird up a little bit. What do you guys?
got it, drop it in there.
maybe would you crop in anything off of the left, like some of the,
I like all that.
You like all that?
Yeah, I like those. Yeah, I like those too.
Especially the snow on
I
the back.
don't like the one in the floor left. As much.
It's a really cool image. If you upped the saturation and brightness on the bird just a tinge, then it would become something a little bit different. It would stand out in contrast to the gloomy background.
right? On the lower left, like you said, leave in most of the meaning up, don't crop, but maybe just eliminate there's like 4 little strands that stick up from the bottom. Lower left.
You could even do a mask with a color range and put your cursor or dropper on one of the kind of reeds that are
Yeah.
brown, and then see if you can mask it and then play with saturations either up or down.
Huh.
That might make the image have
And,
a different feel to it also.
and luminance.
Yeah, higher brightness or saturation. The advantage of having an image in this light is that you can take saturation and just go crazy with it, and it doesn't make it neon, it just makes it
Right.
more intense.
Right.
Very cool image.
It's got good texture in the snow there.
Right.
Love
Right.
it. Yeah.
Okay, this is called Winter's Winding Veins, Bruce Ryman.
Oh. And with Yellowstone, and to Kathy's point a little bit, is it leading line enough, or is it just random helter-skelter craziness?
I think it's leading line, I really like it, I just eliminate those 2 branches in the bottom,
In the bottom,
just make it Black River.
okay.
And maybe that tree on the top left,
You got a little
if
fringe here.
if you could like. Finish it, if it wasn't cut off.
Okay,
It's cut
I
off.
think I've got. the
Maybe
ability-
maybe that's that black bar that's cut off. I don't know.
Or like on Patrick's image, bring it down, have no sky.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, you could do that. But
Maybe
yes,
that's-
definitely.
Right.
Sky doesn't.
Leads you right into the whole scene, eh?
There was a squirrel out there earlier.
You need a moose right in the middle of it. But,
The animals, we were lucky to see any animals back
yeah.
there.
I like the black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, it
That's
does have
good.
good contrast for that.
Love all the texture on the sides of the river too.
This one is called Zero Distraction. This is Shannon Ditzming.
What's the color look like on your guys?
A little bit
It's a little
more,
softer.
a little bit more orange.
Yeah, it looks nice in the sun.
Oh, yeah, that's much nicer than
I still think it's too saturated.
it's still, a little- the background's a little saturated.
But I'm guessing that was what he was trying to do.
Got a lot of, the bright spots in the lower right, lower left, and then kind of the center. Kind of pull you away from the third a little bit, maybe darken that down a little bit. And,
Maybe do a little shadow detail, bringing it up in the bird itself.
on the
On
left
this
side.
side here.
Yeah.
On the backside, I was looking at that too. I think there's,
Maybe brighten this, the white part here, so the eye stands out a little more, just a touch. You gotta be careful about those. The white neon.
Yeah.
What do you think about darkening some of this a little along the branch?
I was thinking of
I would.
maybe that would help it also.
Yeah, my opinion, I'd make it into a square crop. 'Cause To
Just-
me, I don't wanna see that branch, it's not doing that. I wanna see more detail on the bird.
There isn't a lot on the right side. That you could crop that in a bit, yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen,
That's
we
it.
got through all.
That's right. Now I know how to tame these people.
So what interesting stuff.
Bravo.
I'll tell you what, that camera was awesome. Good job.
Just don't, because you get lost in the weeds.
Yeah,
or-
good job.
That was good. That was a good idea.
Underexposing and then taking.
All right, any final things for the folks? at
Camera
home?
meter on something.
Thanks for
I
joining
don't think
us.
so, yeah.
People,
Thank you, Jane, for all the work that I know goes
Did you
into
make an
preparing
announcement
all
about
that.
G and the top?
Oh, yeah, I do have one announcement. Our Jane, everybody said Jane's great image, great image, great image. She was in the top 10 of the Pangolins, Birds of the World, which is an international competition.
Wow.
I don't know how many images were submitted, but she was in the top 10.
Wow.
And Bruce was in the top one
Fantastic.
hundred.
Well, that was my mistake. I think they forgot to put that.
That's great though.
And you can go watch, if you go. if
Were you in
look for-
you were in that show, the video, I just looked at those the other day, I didn't realize.
They have a video out there of the top 100. And both Bruce's and my pictures in the top 100.
Okay.
They called it the Pangolin finalist of the,
Right, yeah,
and then they had a separate video that had the top 10 and the winners.
okay.
The way they released
Yeah,
them
this one I
is,
saw, and yours was in there,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
so the way they released them is on Sunday, they released like, okay, here's all the top 100 images for, because it was Birds of the World, Water the Feature, Out of Africa, Best of 2024, and one other. But they're gonna release those on like a Sunday, and then on Wednesday, they announce the winners.
Yeah.
So they spread this thing out over like a month.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's great.
Keep you interested.
All right, for those of you at home,
All
we'll see
right.
you later. We'll record this and it'll be up in a week or two.
So Dave, I know you gotta start